Amazing. So welcome back, guys. It has actually been a while since I have even recorded a podcast. So Avelene, you're my first guest back, but also it's like a reintroduction of me. It's been a couple of months. I the reason I haven't recorded a podcast is simply because I needed new microphones, but I have a new mic now, so we're here. That was literally all it was. My
Congratulations on your new
thanks.
mic.
My business mentor was like, Ash, do me a favor today and go order those mics. I said I have to because I've got a podcast with Avelene anyway on Friday, so I literally have to. So you actually made me get my microphone, so I'm back. I have no excuses now, so it's fine. We're here.
Amazing. I love that.
But do you know what? I feel like we should do a reintroduction of you because I feel like I know you've been on the podcast before, but it was like last year, like it was such a long time ago. And obviously, yeah, like so much has changed for you, but also within what you now do compared to where you were. Because I think when you would we did the first podcast a while ago, I think like you hadn't done like the courses you've done now. Like things have gone to another level. And like now you're doing obviously talks in schools and things like that as well. So yeah, like, do you want to reintroduce yourself so the people get to know who Aveline is?
Okay, so hi everyone. I'm Avelene. I'm a mindset and somatic coach, and I most recently certified as a breathwork facilitator as well. So I have somatic trauma therapy, somatic muscle release. My background is social care, and I did social care in college. I moved to Australia, but I always had this passion for self development and mindset and just how we grow up, we learn who we have to be in the world, and we take on all of these limiting beliefs and like suppress emotions and all of that. And I was with someone one day and we were talking about like attachment styles and relationships and all of that. And she just said to me, "Why aren't you a life coach?" And I was like, I don't know. Like maybe that's something I could do. And it was so funny because I did the coaching course. It was absolutely incredible. But I was so afraid of judgment. And like I was judging myself because it was such an identity change. And it's kind of that thing is like, who do you think you are? Like, how can you help people?
Yeah.
And I was actually on a call last night with a client and I was like, this is why. Like, this is why I help people because people go through life at times and feel so stuck and feel emotion in their body. You know, when you feel that like heaviness on your chest or your heart racing, and you don't have to go through life like that because I feel like people are like, oh, that's just the way life is. I'm just a people pleaser. That's who I am. Whatever. And it's like, no, like you
Yeah.
deserve to be so happy. You deserve to know your worth and know who you are. So
Yeah.
I help women one to one with their mindset, their somatics. I do breath work now, and I also help students in schools. So last year we started in secondary schools, we're now in primary schools,
I love that.
and that was just amazing. Like it takes, we go back 6 times in the year, and it takes maybe 2 times for them to be like, okay, this is actually like really cool. The first time they're like, who are you weirdos? But by the sixth time, like you know each other and the trust is there. And
Yeah.
it's just helping them with like their mental health, their leadership, resilience. We do a lot of public speaking, nervous system regulation. We play loads of games because life has to have fun as well. So I'll be starting that back in September and I'm really excited for that. But
I
yeah,
love that.
I love what I do. And I did a breathwork course a few weeks ago and I did the breathwork with you guys
Yeah,
online
it
and
was
that was just
so good, honestly.
unreal.
And I feel like also like with the breath work, I don't know if you mind going into this actually because I feel like with the breath work, some people get, and I used to get confused. I used to think the breath work and meditation were the same things. So I used to be like, oh yeah, like I do breath. No, I didn't. I had no idea what breath work was until I first experienced it. So like, what is breath work and what made you want to get into breath work? Like, what was it for you?
Yes, that is actually a great question because sometimes I don't realize that people don't know what these things are.
Yeah.
And like people some people can think like, oh, it's woo woo, like what the hell is breath work? But there's actually so much science behind it, right? So conscious connected breath work is what I trained in. And what it is, it's a hyperventilating style of breath where you're up regulating your nervous system to come back down. And as you're doing that, you're releasing all of the suppressed emotion. So in our breathwork style, we have like you know the playlist, it's kind of like upbeat music, and then we have a peak song, we do screams just to release that emotion. So we're basically changing the style of breath and using different breathing techniques to change the chemistry in our body.
Yeah.
So it's like restricting the blood flow from here, which is like your frontal lobe, your monkey mind, and coming back into your subconscious. So it's actually so, so cool. And
Yeah.
people don't realize that there's so much science behind it, and it's actually changing the chemistry in your body. And I'd love to know, like, what has your experience been with breathwork?
So yeah, when I first did my first breathwork session, like ever, was probably the most intense thing I've ever done in my life. Like I went to my previous business mentor, she's very into like she's gone like her own healing journey. She's very into like mindset and breathwork, and a lot of the business coaching part of it was about us and like the inner work we were doing, which completely changed my life. And we went to Dubai for an event with her, and she had booked this lady called Harsha, who is just incredible. And she was like, right, we're going to go to her house and we're going to sit in her living room for 2 hours. And I was like, I can't sit still for 2 hours. But how am I going to sit there for 2 hours breathing? Like, bearing in mind, I'd never done breath work before. Like, I've done meditation, but not breath work.
Mhm.
And we were there for 3 hours. We went on for 3 hours. We didn't even realize the time just went by. And to be fair, like my first experience was this is weird. In terms of like I felt weird. Like
Mhm.
I could feel, like when we did the breath work recently, one of the girls said she felt like she could feel like her brain was going a little bit like it was weird. Like that was kind of how I felt. I remember laying there panicking a little bit, being like, why does it like my nose? One of the girls also said that her nose kind of felt like it was like the airways opened up. That's how I felt. Almost felt like I was, don't know, it was just a very strange experience. But I was so aware of it that I couldn't really tap into it because I was so nervous of like, is this normal? Like, what, like, am I supposed to feel
Yeah.
this way? Felt really uncomfortable. And then everyone else around me, especially like my business mentor who has done breath work many times before and who works one-on-one with this lady, she obviously was just releasing, and there was a lot of tears, a lot of crying, a lot of screaming, a lot of
Mhm.
laughter. And I remember being like, I don't know what's going on. Like, what am I supposed to feel those things? Like, I didn't know how to experience it. But then we did breathwork again online with the same lady. We had another breathwork session with her. And that was like a bit more of a different experience. And then I did breathwork with another guy who, again, same mentorship, but another guy came on, did it, had a different experience. And then obviously we had ours the other week. And that was probably the most relaxed experience I've had where like I felt safe because I have done it so many times, well, not so many times, but I've done it a few times now to understand it. But yeah, like it's just, I think when you first do it, you think, firstly, like what are we doing? This is so
Yeah.
weird. Yeah, right. Like, why am I going like why am I breathing like that? And like I think your brain also goes into a bit of panic mode of like is this normal? Like is this safe? Like again, like you said, because you're
Mhm.
restricting oxygen from certain areas, like it just feels strange. But I think once you've done it a few times, like now it feels like I allow any emotion that needs to come up. Whereas before I was
Yeah.
probably blocking those things because I didn't know what was meant to come. I didn't know what was meant to happen. Do you know what I mean?
And that is so normal. Like anyone's first breath work, you're going to be like, what the hell is this? Like, why am I breathing like this? Because it's not a natural way to breathe. Like, it's hyperventilating. And if you were breathing like that day to day, like, oh my God, you would not be having a good time. So it's because like we're breathing like that for a short amount of time to release that emotion.
Yeah.
And the feedback I'm getting is just incredible. Like, even some of the girls on our call, they were like, I felt euphoric, I felt bliss, like I released so much. And I'm just holding the space. Like, the client does the work, like, the
Yeah.
client is sitting there like breathing like that, and there will be resistance at the start because your monkey mind is like, what are we having for dinner? Like
Yeah.
what is on my to-do list? Did I put on that like load of washing?
Yeah, yeah.
And then my thing, what I say is like just try and surrender,
Hmm.
because it's probably the only time in those 2 hours, hour and a half, whatever it is, it's probably the only time where you're actually listening to your body on
Yeah.
a deep, deep level, and you're getting a chance to express and cry and laugh and come back into your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
But when I did that breathwork course, I was actually going to do it like 2 years ago and the timing wasn't right. And then I did it this year and like it all made sense because the timing was so right. Like I needed to breathe so much on that course. And it was like 4 days of a retreat of like
Yeah.
learning about like the breath, the body, energy. And it was just fantastic. But a few weeks before that, my whole world changed. Like my whole world just went upside down,
Yeah.
and I felt a lot of sadness, a lot of grief, a lot of emotion. But one thing I never did was like suppress that emotion. Like I
Yeah.
remember making my eggs one morning and I couldn't even see because the
You're crying.
tears were
Yeah.
just flowing.
Yeah.
And look, that is what my body wanted to do at that time. And I think the thing people do is suppress that emotion, is like,
Yeah.
oh, I can't feel that, I'm too busy, I need to be strong.
Yeah.
But there is so much strength in vulnerability.
Yeah.
And me looking back at those like few weeks and looking at me now, I feel like I've handled everything so well.
Yeah.
And it's because of the inner work that I have done on myself. Like I have felt so much self trust and self compassion, and everything happens for a reason. I know that sounds
No,
so cliche,
but it's so
but
true.
it
And
actually does.
this is the thing as well with all of that as well. Like I say to so many of my clients, and something we're really tapping into at the moment with our coaching, and I know we do this anyway, in regards to mindset, like we're very big on mindset, but something we're really tapping into at the moment is like identity work. And like anyone who comes on, we need to go through like, well, where are you going and who are you? Because I think even when it comes to anything, people don't see how far they're going or where they are because they're so attached to like their own identity and who they think they should be and all these things.
Mhm.
So even with all of that, I find a lot with the girls on the team, I'll say, look, like, go sit outside and go for a cry. And they're probably thinking, why is she telling me to cry? I'm like, because you need to. I can feel it. Like, there's that energy to be released. Or I'll have some of the girls on the team and I'll say, get pen to paper, do a bit of journaling. They're like, oh, I don't want to. You don't want to because you don't want to face the fact that there's emotions that are going to come up that feel uncomfortable. But like you just said, then you have to allow those uncomfortable emotions to arise, to ride through it. Because if you don't, you're just putting a plaster on the problem and it's just going to keep bubbling and bubbling. Do you know what someone said to me yesterday? One of my clients said to me yesterday, she feels like a can of Coke that's just been shaken, and that and I thought that is literally what it is, right? Like you're
Wow.
like about to burst, and it's like, but just let it out. Open the can of Coke and let it out, because if not, you're just building that tension up even more. So, like you just said, then it's like everything does happen for a reason. Like things come into your life when they're supposed to, and I think also what you just said then in regards to that you having to go through things yourself and you having to like need that. I do feel like everyone who like helps others is because they also need it themselves and they also go through it themselves. So it's like, you can't really help someone unless you're going to help yourself. So you need to go on that
Mm,
journey yourself. So the fact that, some people want to do breath work or they want to do things like this, but they're not willing to do it themselves, I'm like, that doesn't work. But like for
yeah.
you, you needed that more than ever. And that's now probably given you a new sense of life and love for it all. So that when you're working with your clients, do you know what I mean? Those kind of things.
Yeah. It's like a deeper, like a depth. Like if I can only meet my clients as deep as I meet myself.
Yeah.
And if I don't allow myself to be human and go through emotions and get support in that, because there's so much support and so much knowledge out there, why would we go through life just
Yeah.
surviving when we can thrive?
Yeah.
And I think what I went through this year and probably still processing that, I think it's only made me trust myself more and trust that I can handle anything that life throws at me. And like, challenges do happen. That's life. Life isn't perfect. And it's something that we say to the students all of the time. Like expect the challenges, like expect things to go wrong, and for you to feel those emotions that may feel uncomfortable because you're told not to cry, you're told not to be angry, and then we keep it in. And it's like that kind of Coke.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to someone recently about that capacity. Like, she was feeling such a heaviness on her chest every day. And she didn't have capacity for joy. She didn't have capacity for connection, for love, for laughter. And it's because you keep all of those past experiences and emotions in
Yeah.
and don't process and talk and express. How would you expect not to be like a can of Coke
Yeah.
about to burst?
Yeah. And this is it, is like so many people go through life every single day, like in victim mentality of like, life is just bad. Like, bad things happen to me. I hate my job. I hate my relationship. I hate this, but I'm stuck. And in this victim
Mm.
mentality because they don't want to face actually sitting down and being like, this might be uncomfortable, but like, I have the control and I have the power to change. But they don't want to deal with the emotions or the trauma, or like, I literally always say to people, and it might feel uncomfortable. And sometimes people join our team and they think, this girl's off her head. I'm just trying to lose some weight. And here she is trying to freaking reconnect me to myself. I'm like, but there's no point in you losing weight if you're not going to shift into the identity of someone who can keep that weight off because you don't believe in yourself. So, like, it
Mhm.
has to go deeper than that. But, like, I'll say to some people, like, where does that come from? And they're like, oh, actually, now you said that, like my childhood or this or that. And it's like, okay, now we're opening up. Now we understand and we can give ourselves compassion for the feelings that we're feeling so that we can then be self-aware. And I think that's one
Mhm.
issue that a lot of people have as well, is when they deal with all these emotions or these changes, they don't know how to they don't know how to move forward. So like a lot of the time when we've had our calls with you with the girls, and they'll ask you this as well. They always say like, okay, now I know that. What do I do with that information, right? And that can be really hard because like now they think they need to have this strategic plan of like how they're going to overcome these emotions. But it's, what would you say? Like, say someone had gone through what you've gone through recently yourself, right? And they've gone through that experience and they're really struggling to kind of process like how you've moved through that and come out the other side. What would you say to someone who's going through that moment, like you said, where you couldn't see when you were cooking your eggs because you were crying so much? And like, what would you say to that person who maybe hasn't done the inner work like you have, so that you knew you could trust yourself to get through it? What would you say to that person? Like, what's their next steps to be like, it's not going to be the end of the world, like you're going to get through this. It's just going to take one step at a time.
Mm-hmm. That is a really good question. And I will say something first.
Yeah.
So, when we've been through trauma, and you know what? Trauma doesn't have to be this big, massive event, it can be like loads of little events.
Yeah.
When we've gone through trauma, challenges, all of that, sometimes the body actually shuts down. It's a nervous system response where the body won't let you feel because it thinks that the feeling will be too intense.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's why people like can't accept the emotion and can't feel it. And it's a very slow process. And it takes like just feeling it a tiny, tiny bit. And then over time, you build that capacity, right? But what I would say to someone, everyone is obviously so different, but I feel like once you go through a challenging time and actually acknowledge, my God, I handled that. Maybe I could have handled it a different way, but I handled that regardless, right? And that is like more proof in our brain that you are strong, you are resilient, you are capable. And I would say you have to go through it, you have to feel the emotion, you have to journal and brain dump and talk to people who love and support you, because we heal in community and connection. We do not heal in isolation. Um, acceptance,
Yeah.
accepting the situation for what it is, and trying to do things that bring you joy,
Yeah.
because you have to feel joy in your life as well. And even if you're finding that really, really hard, like it does get easier.
Yeah.
It does get easier. And I remember walking up the mountain maybe 2 months ago, and I was like, God, I feel so sad. Like I felt this heaviness on my chest. And I was like, I wonder how long it's actually going to take for me to feel back to myself again.
Yeah.
And every single day you feel better. Every single week you feel better. And sometimes you do need support and someone in your corner. Like I go to therapy every few weeks, I go to coaching, like you're my fitness coach. And like you can have so many supportive people around you in your corner, because we don't, as I said, we don't heal in isolation. Like
Yeah.
remember back years ago when we were all in a tribe, and like
Yeah.
that's how we survived, because we were in tribes and we were in communities. And we do have to make a conscious effort to connect with people,
Yeah.
and we do have to take action.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can't just sit and ruminate and wallow. We have to take action, and we have to remember who we are and what we deserve.
Yeah. I think that's really powerful as well, because I was going to say as well what you said then in regards to allowing and accepting the situation. I think a lot of us, we all struggle with lack of control over situations. And when something's out of your control and it didn't go the way that you planned, it feels really like it just feels out of control and you feel like you're spiraling. But actually, you're not in control, because what is made for you is gonna keep like that's it's gonna keep slapping you in the face until you realize that's not your path. Like you can
Mm.
try and control that all you want, but you have to. I know I always talk about this book, and I'm sure I've told you to read it because I tell everyone to read it, but Mastering Detachment is like my favorite book ever. And it's all about that, mastering detachment. You're literally like, let me write this down because I'm
I'm
going to go
writing
buy
that
this
down.
book. Master and detachment. There is a few different versions of it. It's a red cut. It's got red and black writing on it. It's like I was gonna give it to one of my clients, and I was like, I'm really sorry, I can't, because I have to read it over and over. Like it's such an incredible book. Like I'm obsessed, and it's
Wow.
really small as well. It's not a big book. It's really small. You can read it like I read mine in the sauna. Like well, a couple sauna sessions done, right?
Oh my
But
God, wow.
and that's what it's all about. It's about mastering detachment, like detaching from what you think was meant to happen and allowing change and allowing things to kind of mess up a little bit, because that's what's meant to happen in order to get you on the
Mm.
path you're supposed to be on. And I think we struggle with that sometimes, because we're like, well, that wasn't meant to happen that way, and this wasn't meant to happen. And it's like, but you're holding on to so much control that you have no control over. So just let go. Like, let go of what is meant to be. Let go of what you think things are going to be like, because all that does is cause that more pain. And it's like, why
Mm.
didn't things go the way they were meant to go in my head? Because that's just not the way the cookie crumbles. Like, the more you can detach from that and let go, and like you said, to give that acceptance, so like this has happened, and like these changes are going to happen in my life, and I have to be okay with that and move through it, because otherwise you're just something that I always remembered when I was at university. I was a hippie and I was like a real like I that's I think why I'm like so like airy fairy now, because I've got elements of that, but I'm more like tapping into both like masculine and feminine, right?
Yeah.
I remember I was so hippie and I was so in like my feels. I would literally wake up every day and I had tapestries all over my room, and I'd wear like the Thailand pants, there's the elephant pants. That's literally what I lived.
Oh my God, I did not know this about you.
Yeah, I'll send you some pictures afterwards. You'll be like, what? But through that phase, because I went so deep into like woo-woo-ness, I was like, I used to call myself a fairy. Like I thought I was this little fairy, right? Because of that, because I did so much mindset work then, I remember like I remember actually being hurt for my first time by like someone, right? I'd never been hurt before, like the way I had then, and so disappointed. And I remember like I cried and cried on the day, and then after that I was like fine. And I remember that person
Mm.
even said to me like, "How come like you're not angry? You're not like shouting at me, like all these things." And I remember just being like, because all that does is hurt me.
Yeah.
Like me getting angry and all these things about this situation that you've hurt me, it's not gonna hurt you. it hurts me.
Mm.
I'm the one who feels these things. There is no point. And I remember that sticks with me forever because it's so true, like you just said then as well, like accepting and realizing that like me holding on to all that resentment and hurt and anger, it's not hurting that person. It's only hurting
Mm-hmm.
you. And I think we can take that in regards to everything in our life, like
Mm-hmm.
friends, people, whatever, relationships. It's like if someone hurts you or disappoints you, like as Mel Robbins would say, just fucking let them. Let them,
Yeah.
because you have to take your own self through that next step. But actually accepting situations can be the hardest thing. But actually, if you hold on to it, it's just hurting you. And it's just that you're the only person that suffers.
I'm actually so glad you said that because there's this saying, and it's like, if you are angry at someone or can't forgive someone and holding on to that anger and it's affecting you, it's like holding a hot piece of coal and expecting them to get burnt.
Yeah.
But they don't. They're just going about living their daily lives and like you're being affected by it. So
Yeah.
that is such a valid point.
Yeah.
And also, look at the seasons. Like things end and begin all of the time, and change is only the really certain thing in life. Like
Yeah.
nothing in life is certain but change. Like things change all of the time, and the more resilient and strength you can build and self-trust you can build in yourself, like the more you can handle that and
Yeah.
just know that like everything is working out in your favor. And if it doesn't feel like that right now, like think about a time when something didn't work out and then you look back maybe like 2 years or 5 years and you're like, wow, that's why that happened. Like that wasn't
Yeah.
meant for me.
And I always say that as well, like what you just said then is like everything will make sense down the line. And like everything that we've gone through in our life that's been painful and like not very nice has shaped us to who we are today. So everything you go through, like you have to grow through that and realize that like a year down the line, you're going to look back and be like, This might not make sense right now, but it will make
Mhm.
sense." And you always have
Yeah.
to just trust and be like, whatever. Like whenever I go through a challenging situation now, I used to be such a victim to my life. Like I was the worst. I was such a victim. And now I just think, as much as even in the moments you're thinking, oh, why is this happening? This is very annoying, like which is very valid. We're allowed to feel that way, right?
Yeah.
But I always now just say to myself, okay, what is this what did I need to learn? Because I obviously need to learn something for this challenge to now arise. What is the universe trying to teach me? What is this situation teaching me? And if you don't do that, like I said earlier, it's just going to keep slapping you in the face until you wake
Hmm.
up beside the coffee, right? So I think that's another thing as well, is like taking every lesson is like, instead of being like, why is this happening to me? Like I always say to my clients, right? Like instead of saying, oh, why is this happening to me? Just change the way you say it to like, why is this happening to me? Like, as in, like, why? As in, what can I learn from it and grow from it? And I think that's the biggest thing you can take from change, because change is scary. I mean, I love
Mm.
change. Like, I am so ADHD. I have to move around things all the time, but I get excited. Like, oh, what now? Like, oh, like that's just stimulus in my brain. But it also is scary because, like you said, then it's uncertainty. And like you always say as well, like your brain responds to what's familiar. And like when you don't know what's familiar because you don't know what that thing is going to happen, your brain's telling you like, wow, this could happen, and all the fear comes up. So
Mm.
I was going to ask you as well, like, what are three lessons that you have learned or taken from this like chapter of your life right now?
Okay. I think, and like that, the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself
Yeah,
because you are in your mind and body 24/7 for the rest of your life. And things are changing outside of you. But imagine being so certain in you and like you handling the change and all of that. So that is one thing that I've learned. Um, Another thing is that if you're feeling something in your gut, if you feel a niggle, and it's not like this big fear, you know, when we're like afraid to do new things and it's a big fear, like intuition is that quiet whisper and it's like nudging you just really gently. But if you feel in your gut that something isn't right, it's probably because it's not. it's probably because it's not.
It's a
And
hard
then
pill to swallow as well, isn't it? Because I think
I
sometimes
know,
sometimes
I
we
know.
know things aren't right and you're like, I don't want to listen to that. Let me just ignore that over there. And it's like, it's just going to keep coming up until you do something about it.
Exactly, exactly. And maybe letting that thing go isn't as bad in time as
Yeah,
you actually thought. And then a third thing is people will probably be like, oh my God, here she goes again. But the inner work is so important.
no, it really is.
Like, I think if me 5 years ago was going through like these challenges, I would not be able to handle them as well. I would not be able to bounce back as well. Um, yeah, I just think it's incredible. It's
Yeah,
so cool. Like,
it
what do
is.
you mean I can trust myself more and be stronger and be more certain in myself and know what I deserve and know what you're worth and all of those things? Like, what do you mean I can actually do that, you know?
Yeah,
And like our
100%.
brain is neuroplastic. We don't stay the same forever.
Yeah. And I think people struggle with that as well. Like I have, this is why we're tapping so much into identity and mindset work with our clients because and I think
Hmm.
people can like feel that, like they know that like I'm not just gonna allow them to like make excuses and leave, like because that's just
Hmm.
not what we do, right? But I do think when it comes down to like, health and fitness in particular, like a lot of people are so stuck in their old identity and the same stories they've always told themselves. And again, like we always say, and you've always taught us, like, your brain is familiar with with you letting yourself down all the time. Your brain is familiar with you not trusting yourself. Your brain is familiar with everything you try, you fail, so therefore,
Hmm.
it's just going to tell you that because it's trying to keep you safe. But I guess for someone who's listening who is like really inspired by everything that you've said, like where that self-trust comes from and that self-compassion and going through those challenges and doing the inner work, because I know a lot of people will be listening to this thinking, where do I even start? And I remember myself going on a walk with a lady in Bali and she said to me, I'd never met her before. We went for a walk on the beach, and I'll never forget it because I was a mess at the time in terms of my nervous system, right? And I remember
Hmm.
her saying to me, like, oh, like I'm just really tapping into my nervous system and regulation. I didn't even know what those things meant, Avelene. I was like, whatever she's saying, I need that. I remember just being like, I need that. And I remember going back home to Jordan and being like, nervous system regulation, whatever that is, I need that because I was at that point where I was like, that really was calling to me. And that's why I then tapped into nervous system regulation. That's why I bring it
Yes.
into coaching, right? So I guess for someone who was like where I was and they're listening to these things and they're thinking, where the hell do I start? Like, I'm so
Mhm.
like not, I don't trust myself. I don't, I fail all the time. I give up on myself all the time because it's the easy way out. I'm stuck in situations that I'm not happy in. I give my energy to people that I don't want to give my energy to. How do they do that inner work? Like, what is this inner work that we talk of? Like, where do they start if they've never done anything before?
Okay. I think it's very hard to do the inner work by ourselves because we have all of these kind of blind spots and shadows that we can't see. And then someone asks you a few questions and picks them out, and you're like, whoa,
Yeah.
okay, that's why I'm doing XYZ. But I would just say with nervous system regulation, you're most regulated when you're in your joy, right? So find something that brings you so much joy. And with that, probably comes a lot of limiting beliefs like, oh, I should be doing XYZ. I should be busier. There's like so many things on my to do list. And the thing is, we need to get to the root of those beliefs that are actually holding you back.
Yeah.
But for me, and regulation doesn't always mean calm. Like regulation could mean someone crossing my boundary and me using my voice, like
Yeah.
speaking up for myself, you know? But I love to dance, I love to sing, I love to walk in nature, especially up the mountain, like it's right here on my doorstep this morning.
I'm
I
so
walked up.
jealous.
Yeah, this morning I
Honestly.
walked up and I just had my feet in the grass.
Yeah.
And there's so many things, there's so many ways we can do it. And I would also say that, like, the stories that you are telling yourself, like the voice that's in your head, is that holding you back? or propelling you forward. And again, like that is coming from your beliefs. So our beliefs are what we learn growing up, and that's the foundation. And our beliefs dictate our thoughts, how we feel, what actions we take, and then our whole life experience, because what actions we take depends on what we do every single day. And it's like a cycle.
Yeah.
So it's getting to the root of the stories and the limiting beliefs and what you believe about yourself, and knowing that they are not facts.
Yeah, they're not
Like,
true. It's just assumptions.
yeah, like it's what you've learned and what you've been repeating. But is that actually true? Like,
Yeah.
is that true that, yeah, you can't do XYZ, or that you shouldn't do XYZ? Like, whose expectations are you living by?
Yeah, 100%. And it's something like you said earlier about like building evidence. That's one thing I say to my clients all the time. Like, there's no evidence in your brain right now that you can do X, Y, Z, but the only way you're going to build that evidence is by going and doing that thing, just going and doing it, do the hard thing and show yourself. And then as soon as you build that evidence, because there is evidence that we can do hard things. I say to everyone, this is my thing all the time. I'm like, you go to work every day when you don't want to go. Like you can do hard shit, right? Because you do
Yeah.
that every day. People say, I'm not disciplined, I'm not motivated. You go to work every day when you probably don't want to go. You are disciplined, you are motivated. You're just very you're not prioritizing those areas because you don't think that you're disciplined in those areas. Or like again,
Mhm.
same with work, you have a boss. So like you have to show up, right? So that's why having coaches like we are like that, we're going to help
Yeah.
hold you that accountability. It's like even this morning after school I've got a call with my business mentor. Like you best
Mhm.
believe I've got all my trackers filled out, everything to a T for me, but for her, so that like it's like having that accountability there. But I think building evidence is a really hard thing because if there's no evidence there, we just sit back into our old ways. But you almost have to go, no, I'm not listening to that little voice in my head that says I can't. I'm going to show you that I can, and then building that evidence upon that will take those things into like to the next level, because then you identify yourself as someone as like, no, I do those things, right? I think
Mhm.
also when it comes down to like nervous system regulation and like finding joy, like you said then, one thing that I think a lot of people struggle with is like masculine and femininity.
Mhm.
Both of them need to coincide together, I truly believe in. And like, a lot of us are like so regimented, and we like, even my clients in their morning routine, it's like tick, 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 tick. And I always say to them, it shouldn't be a tick list. Like your
Yeah.
morning routine, yes, okay, to begin with, to get into a flow of like, okay, I'm regulating my nervous system, I'm doing something for myself. But you might wake up one morning and be like, I need to just go get some fresh air. Like, or
Yeah.
I need this, not, okay, I've done my gratitude. Okay, now, because are you actually in that? Are you actually present in that? Probably not, you're just taking it off. And I think that's
Mhm.
what we struggle with sometimes because, and I don't know if you have like anything on this, because I had a client in particular who when she first joined, her goal was to build muscle, right? And we did that, like absolutely smashed it, looked incredible, did a photo shoot. But then we realized she's got so much trauma inside of her that a lot of her like masculine energy was just like masking all this. She needed a bit of softness. So then we kind of
Mhm.
flipped this, like we flipped the coaching, and it was all about like nervous system regulation, her journaling, releasing, allowing herself to cry. She started doing somatic stuff. So like we really tapped into that. But then recently we've hit another block where we've realized she's now too feminine in terms of like she thrived in that masculinity of the gym and those kind of things. And then she went like almost to the opposite side of too soft, where then like she had no like routine. And then that was like she was struggling with no like goals to hit and no. So now we're trying to tap into, okay, this is an amazing journey because we're now realizing that you need a bit of both, but we now need
Yeah.
to have those two coincide. And it's something that I've always struggled with because I'm a very masculine, like I have very masculine energy. I'm very much like go, go, go. But I've also had to learn that like you have to have the feminine with the masculine and the flow of both. So how does
Mhm.
someone find that? Because I guess you're really good at this because like, you're in the gym, you have routine with me, like you eat the same food every day, like you're very regimented, but you also have such a flow. So how do you
Yeah.
mix the two together in a very like in an easy way? Because I feel like people get overwhelmed with either one or the other. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think for me, I'm just like, how do I explain this? I just feel like I have to have some aspects of like calm and flow
Yeah.
in my life. So yes, I love going to the gym. I love eating the same foods every day. But like, for example, like I could have got up this morning at 6 a.m., went to the gym, but I was just like, do you know what? I don't really need to. Like, I
Yeah.
can go out into the fields and walk the grass, like slowly instead. So I think it's like the pressure as well that we put on ourselves sometime.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, how can I have a balance of both? How can I be in my feminine and like be slow at times? And look, it doesn't always mean slow. It just
Yeah.
means like tuning into you and
Yeah.
not having to be like go, go, go.
Yeah.
So I think it's like for her, just bringing in a little bit of routine back and bringing in some goals and being like, okay, how do you actually want to feel? Who do you want to be? And how can you bring in both into your day and
Yeah.
also not have like a huge expectation on yourself to like tick, tick, tick
Yeah.
goals. And like if something doesn't happen, that's okay. It's not
Yeah.
the end of the world. Do you know what I mean?
I think that's the thing we struggle with is like, okay, well, like goals, I need to do it this way. And I'm like, there's no way, right or wrong way. Like sometimes you need to have the flow within it and you have to push and pull. You need to kind of have both
Yeah.
because we do need that routine and we do need that structure. I truly believe that. And when we don't have that, we kind of feel a little bit all over the place. But I have
Mm-hmm.
moments and I actually cycle mine around my cycle. Like I
Mm-hmm.
know where I'm at in my cycle. So like I always know when I'm due on, and my business mentor always knows when I'm due on. It's a bit chaotic around here in regards to like I'm very like hot on things and very masculine. That's just how it is. But then
Mm-hmm.
I also know as soon as I come on, I'm in my flow a little bit more and everything's okay again and everything. And I actually take the initiative that like sometimes I won't even do consultation calls if I'm due on, if I'm
Yeah.
a mental, because I'm not in the right energy. I know I'm not in the right energy. And if I do, I will actually force myself to have like a shower or
Mm-hmm.
a sauna or something before so that when I go on the call with that person, I am a little bit more regulated. So I think also it's like teaching your body that are like you are gonna have those moments of like I need structure, I need routine, but also it's okay that like your evening didn't go to plan or that,
Mm-hmm.
one of my clients the other day was like, we went to the beach, but we didn't get home till 11 p.m. I'm like, but you went to the beach with your kids? Like, how
Yes.
amazing is that? Fuck your bedtime routine. Who cares about your bedtime routine? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Like, and something I always say to everyone is like, guys, we're on a floating rock, right? We're not going to be here forever. Like, enjoy your
Mhm.
life. Like, add some dopamine and love into your days because this could be your last day on earth. Like, why are we
Yeah.
going about our days trying to be so like, I need to do this, I need to do the food shop, I need to pick the kids up, I need to like, yes, we need to do those things, but like, who's rushing you? You're rushing you. Do you know what I mean?
Mm. Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
we need to like tap into that as well. Like that comes down to what you were saying earlier, and guys, to adding joy into your life. There is joy in everything we do. It's just if we see everything, if we do the same thing every day. I saw a quote the other week and it was saying like if you go on the same walk every day and you look at the same thing every single time, you're never going to actually experience that walk the way that you could see it. But if you go on that walk every day and each time you notice there's something a little bit different, like
Mm.
you're taking in the different parts of your day. Like you might go to the same office every day and be like, here we go again. But maybe you say hi to someone on the way, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, or maybe
Yeah.
go buy yourself your favorite coffee on the way to work, and like that's your little bit of joy in the morning. Like, I think that's really important is tapping into like because people struggle with adding that bit of joy, like you were saying earlier, into their days, and like they've struggled to like dance and sing because maybe that feels a bit uncomfortable for them. So like,
Mhm.
would you say there are little things they can do within their mornings or days to like just bring that little bit of peace and joy? And I said it on the Miracle Morning this morning, but also when we don't like things that are happening in our lives, like our jobs or situations, we tend to be very much negative around it. But like those
Mhm.
things aren't going to change. So like if you can go at it with the mindset of like, okay, I'm not happy in my job, but it is giving me a roof over my head at the moment. And it is
Mhm.
actually making sure that I can feed the kids or I can whatever it is. And it's giving me a bit shifting your perspective to like a bit more gratitude for things that we maybe don't like. Like, do you
Yes.
have any tips in regards to that as well? Would you say that's kind of something that you would recommend, or is there anything else in regards to that that you'd recommend to someone who's just trying to find a bit of joy in the chaos of life right now?
I want to say, and this is huge, you don't see the world as it is. you see it as you are.
Yeah, I love that.
So we are not experiencing reality right now. We are experiencing our lens. And that is our beliefs, our past experiences, our wounds, our emotions, the stories we tell ourselves. So your perspective is absolutely huge. And if you go around the world and you're like, I hate this job, I don't want to get up today, today is going to be so boring, like whatever you tell yourself, your brain is going to prove that to be true.
Yeah.
And it's about changing that perspective. And look, I know we could go a lot deeper on that and like into the body and all, but I just think that like you are not a tree. You don't have to stay where you are. You have complete autonomy over your life, but
Yeah.
you hold yourself back because of fear of change, fear of what other people think, fear of failure. But once you get to know yourself and build that strength and resilience and come back to yourself, like come home to yourself, you do things despite the fear.
Yeah.
If you can do things despite the fear, and also it comes down to self-worth, like knowing what you deserve, knowing that you deserve to feel that joy and feel connection and laughter with people. And look, it does take effort, but you are putting in so much effort probably into looking after everyone else around you
Hmm.
and making sure everyone else is okay.
Hmm.
What about you?
Right. And I think what you just said there, effort, I would say to everyone, like, pick your hard, right? Like it's going to be hard. It's not going to be
Mhm.
comfortable, but it's harder to stay where you are. It's harder to stay in a situation you're not happy in. It's harder to be in this victim mentality every single day and feeling negative. Like that's harder rather than,
Yeah,
okay, doing a bit of journaling. The amount of my clients that say, oh, I just don't like journaling. You don't like it because it feels uncomfortable and it's going to bring up a lot of things that we don't want to move through, but then you're going to stay where you are. So it's
yeah.
kind of like it's a catch 22. But
Mhm.
it's our mindset and our perception around it. So yeah, no, I love that. I love the fact that, like you said, because I remember this is obviously very off topic, but I went to Ibiza a few months ago, right? And before I went
Mhm.
to Ibiza, I was feeling very much like stuck in my four walls. I hadn't been on holiday for a while and I just needed to go and like get out. And I came back and I walked through that door and I was like, oh, I love this place. Oh my God, I love my job. Oh my God, I can't wait to get back because I came back and I was like, I just love the safety of like my home and my space. And
Mhm.
I remember just walking through that door being like, I love this. And it's always when I leave and I come back. But when you're here every day, you don't take that in, you know? And like actually
Yes.
my client did a vision board. I got all my clients to do vision boards this week, right? And she said to me, interestingly, I did the vision board and I realized I have everything I want. And I was
Wow.
like, that was so she was like, I realized I'm very happy. I have a husband. I have the kids I want. Like I have all the love around me that I need. I have a safe home. I think sometimes we're always just trying to chase the next big thing and that we
Yeah.
don't realize what we have is right in front of us. And then even my client got married the other day and I said to her, like, stop stressing. Like, it's gonna go so fast. Like just be present. Like you're about to get married to
Mm.
the love of your life. Like just enjoy it. And then we had the call yesterday and she was like, oh my God, it went so fast. And I was like, I told you. And she was like, I've watched the video back and I feel like I wasn't even like processing the fact that I was there because
Yeah.
like it was just all happened so fast and we're so in our heads. But it's like sometimes everything you have is right in front of you. But like you said, you have to just see it with a different lens and be like, how lucky are we to have everything we have right now? We don't even realize how far we've come, you know?
Literally. And that's why gratitude is so important.
Yeah.
And look, I'm not saying that you have to be absolutely positive and grateful for everything. Like shit does happen. Like,
Yeah.
do you know
Life
what
can
I
be
mean?
shit sometimes.
Life
Yeah.
can be so shit sometimes. And like your feelings are valid about that. But
Yeah.
how long are you going to feel like that?
Yeah. That's it. And that's what you got to start shifting because I think, like I said that on my story the other day, I was like, life is really shit sometimes. Like things happen and you're just like, and sometimes there's not an answer and you're like, what? Why did that happen? That was so awful.
Yeah.
So like when we're saying like everything happens for a reason, sometimes it can be hard because we think, okay, but why? But like we don't need to know the answer why. We don't
Mhm.
need to know the answer. I think also just seeing it as like, yeah, life can be heavy and you're okay to feel sad and annoyed and angry and allowed to feel every emotion, but you can't sit in that for too long. You have to keep it moving, like do the work
Yeah.
on yourself and enter that next chapter. So actually, I have a little question for you to end the podcast on, because I know we've gone over time, because me and you always do. Oh yeah,
Wow.
I always knew that was going to happen anyway. What is one thing you are going to say no to more going into your next chapter, and what is one thing you're going to say yes to more going into your next chapter?
Wow. Okay. What am I going to say no to more? I feel like I already do this, but I feel like I'm going to say no to like disrespect and just things that don't align with me and where I'm going. And I'm quite lucky in my life, to be honest, because the people around me are the best. They're so supportive. But at the same time, like I'm very honest. Like I do call people out if I don't agree with something or
Yeah,
whatever. Um yeah, I think I'm saying no to things that just don't align with me. And also, I'm not responsible for other people's feelings or emotions. And when you free yourself from that, when you free
yeah,
yourself from thinking you're responsible for other people's expectations, emotions, reactions, like, God, just let that go.
yeah.
Like, do what feels right for you.
And that can be
What,
really hard as well, like in our space when we're working with a lot of women, because we
yeah,
sometimes feel like, I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel very much like I wanna change everyone. So like, and you want to help everyone. So sometimes you can get
mhm,
yourself really wrapped up in like wanting to change people and help them, but also they like it's you can't change everyone, you know? Like, and
mhm.
I think also taking that into yourself and being like, they will they will get there when they're ready to get there, and I can just guide them along the way, and it's not my responsibility to like do you know what I mean? I think as coaches sometimes we can get
Exactly.
better, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? It's that like savior identity. Like we
Yeah,
are not saviors. We just guide, give the tools, hold the space. And people have everything within them
yeah,
to get there. Like sometimes they just need that support and need
yeah,
someone in their corner, and that's okay.
yeah,
Um, I didn't, I actually meant more like people in my personal life that I'm
yeah,
not responsible for their emotions. Because it's funny, my client calls are always like, it's like we're going on that journey together. Like
together.
I will
Yeah,
be with them through that.
yeah, yeah,
Um, and then something I'm saying yes to, was that the next
yeah,
question? Okay, something I'm saying yes to is I think taking the leap.
yeah,
Like there's I've so many ideas in my head, and it's like getting them on paper, taking action, taking the leap despite the fear, despite what I'm like the stories I'm telling myself that might happen, or other people's judgment or failure or anything like that. Like it's actually not about me. It's about helping other people. It's about helping women come back to themselves and find a spark. It's not about me.
yeah. 100%. Yeah. And I think also another question I would ask, just one more, was what I know it's a little bit similar to like what you're saying no to, but what are you letting go of? Like, what is one thing that maybe you tell yourself that you're letting go of? Because I think also when it comes down to people like myself and you, people seem to think we have all the answers and that we don't struggle ourselves, but we do. We're still on this journey ourselves. So, what is something that you are letting go of for yourself?
I am letting go of, and you actually said it, we're so aligned, having all the answers,
Yeah,
letting go of feeling like you need to have all the answers and feeling like you need to have everything figured out, because we don't.
yeah,
And I feel like at the moment, I am just following my intuition, following with what aligns with me. And it's making me really happy. It's
yeah,
making me really fulfilled. And that was even despite feeling the sadness and the grief and other emotions. Like they can both coexist, but you can be and deserve to be so happy. So, but
yeah.
you don't need to have it all figured out.
I also think just to add on that, you're never going to have it all figured out
No.
ever. Never.
Mm-mm.
Because life is, and that's something that I always say to everyone is like, it's you're never going to get to this place, by the way, in your life where you go, everything is amazing, da da da, and it's going to stay that way forever because that's just not how life works. So you
Mm-hmm.
have to just like ride the wave, and like there are going to be, I think I might have said this on an old podcast, but I was driving down like a road one day when I was going through like a really hard time in my life and it was like up and down. And I drive down it quite a lot now, so I always remind myself when I go down it, but like it was like up and then down, but like quite up and down. And I was like, I remember going down it and being like, this is life. I'm going to come back up. I'm going to go back down again. And then I'm going to go back up again. But each time you're just moving forward. And it was like a little
Yes.
like analogy in my head where I was like, and it's never going to be plain sailing. When people say to me, oh, but like it was going so well and now everything's gone tits up again. I'm like, yep, that's going to happen again. But like you just got to keep riding the wave, you know?
Exactly, riding the wave. And like if you think about every challenge that you've ever gone through, you've never came out weaker.
Yeah,
You've never came out with less knowledge. You've never came out with less self-trust. It's
yeah,
always been building and evolving and growing.
yeah, 100%. Well, I will say that we'll probably call it here. Otherwise, we'll probably be here for another 2 hours. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I
But
know.
honestly, thank you so much. Like I love these podcasts. Like it's always whenever you say let's do a podcast, I'm like, yeah, let's do a podcast because
Yeah, let's.
I know that like all the girls listen to this as well. They always get so much insight because I don't know, everyone loves me and you together. I don't know what it is. Everyone says to me, like, you two together, like I could just listen to you all day. So no,
Love
I'm
that.
so grateful and I'm so excited, like because you know who knows where life's going to take you and like for both of us like on the next podcast and that's why I get excited about it. It's
Yeah.
like what's next, like it's exciting. So yeah, thank you so much. Is there anything you want to leave on, maybe a little, I don't know, a little mindset, don't know, little quote or anything you want to leave on that you feel like would be nice to
I
finish up on?
Yeah, if anyone takes anything from this podcast, it's just you are doing better than you think, and you like feelings are temporary. You're
Yeah.
not going to feel like you're feeling right now forever. So, like, embrace the good times, embrace the joy, and just know that you will get through anything that life throws at you.
Okay, and also we need what's it called, a petition. I was gonna say permission. We need a petition for you to start your own podcast.
I have. I
Oh, you
just fell off
have.
a little bit.
Okay, we need to get
So
that going.
maybe my next episode will be you coming on
Yes,
mine.
I come into yours. Yes. Okay, guys, that's
Amazing.
it. She said out loud now, so I've got it on podcast. No, thank you so much, Aveline. And yeah, I'm so excited to see kind of where your next journey is going to take you and obviously the next episode. So thank you.
Thank you so much.